Hey everyone, it's Natalie Bencavanga, and welcome to a very special edition of Facts Over Fear. You know, this is becoming kind of an unofficial thing I'm doing every week where it seems like Fridays, I have a lot of really wonderful people on and we just kind of break down the news cycle from hell. And today, my friend Kat, you might know her as Worm with a Mustache on social media, is joining me. She is a content creator that kind of focuses on the intersection of pop culture and politics. And I'm really happy to have you on today. And we're going to do this little segment called Pop Off because we've got some things to talk about. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So while we're kind of waiting for people to join, I just wanted to get some thoughts from you first about how you found your way into this space before we start talking about the topics of the week.
Yeah. So it started out completely as like a Bravo TV pop culture page. So I had a meme account and it was under a different name. And then if you're familiar with the Scandival thing that happened with Vanderpump Rules, I was watching one of the reunion shows. James Kennedy called Tom Sandoval a worm with a mustache. And I was like, I am taking that handle immediately. And then it just kind of grew from there. I had a few viral reels. And then I think my first like explicitly political post was whenever Trump received his first conviction. And I made like a whole meme roundup carousel and had a mass exodus of followers because, the Bravo community is unique and diverse with all sorts of people's opinions across the political spectrum. So I had a mass exodus, but then, what I lost, I gained back in like-minded people and followers. And then it just kind of became a mesh of both Bravo and politics and anything and everything in between. Also, I'm a mom. I'm a mom of two kids. I have a 5.5-year-old and a 3.5-year-old, or I guess they'll more than a half. They'll be 6 and 4 in October. So I do some mom content and then just, share my life a little bit.
That's awesome. Well, I really wanted to focus in on sort of that intersection today because of your background. And also this week just seemed like there was a lot going on in particular around women and women's issues. We're going to be talking about celebrity culture today and the exploitation of women, the impossible expectations we place on mothers, which I would love to hear you speak on that from your own personal experience, and the contradictions at the heart of Make America Healthy Again, which many of us know as MAHA, and what one Trump loyalist's extraordinary devotion really tells us about power. So let's get into it and separate the facts from the fear. So let's start with a Bravo crossover, if you will, Kat. So this is a story that is, at least in my mind, as salacious as it is troubling. So you remember Real Housewives star Diana Jenkins. She was on like a single season. Oh, I have no doubt. So we have a lot in common because I also love the Bravo world. So we're gonna enjoy this. She was on a single season of Beverly Hills, and it was very interesting because I remember at the time watching her and being like, how the hell does this woman make her money? And I'm still not 100% sure. And so I welcome what you think of that. But right now, the reason that she's back sort of in the spotlight is that she is denying allegations that she put late actress Hayden Panettiere in bed with a famous undressed man. Now, beyond that headline is a much bigger question. What happens when women's private lives become entertainment and really up for grabs for our consumption, and allegations become content before the facts are even established? And I wanted to bring Hayden into this conversation as well, because of everything that we're seeing unfolding with the Epstein files. We've dealt a lot with that on the show. I have Eric Fudali, who is one of the survivors' lawyers, on regularly to talk about this. So just broad strokes, first of all, what were your initial reactions around what you saw surrounding Hayden's death, and now subsequently what we're seeing with Diana?
Yeah, I mean, when I saw the headline, I don't think I was necessarily shocked by it. I didn't listen to Jay Shetty's podcast that he had her on, I think, a few months ago. I didn't listen to it, but I saw clips, and she just seemed very sad and distant and not really kind of all there. But also Bravo, I was listening to the Giggly Squad podcast today while I was on my walk earlier, and someone was saying that her abusive ex was at the crime scene, like, in talking to the police, like, immediately was like, "Oh, these are the drugs that she took," and she had a restraining order against this ex, and so there's a lot of, like, weird kinda inconsistencies or something just doesn't seem right there.
No, I totally agree. And I always felt like we never were getting the real full story about what was going on with her. I remember when we were younger and she lost custody of her child
Mhm.
when she was going through postpartum. Just the way that media framed it, I think would have been very different today
Yeah.
because so many more women are speaking out and mothers are speaking out about their experiences postpartum.
Mhm.
So when you heard about Diana Jenkins and the yacht situation where Hayden found herself, and Hayden talked about this, that she was the one that brought this into
Yep.
focus prior to her death. What did you think? Because Diana's like threatening to sue everyone, like
Okay.
everyone.
Interesting. Well, and I
Mhm.
know, I mean, I feel like you can threaten to sue anyone, but until you actually do it, like,
Yeah.
I don't really know. It might be just her trying to, like, save face because it's like,
Mhm.
when you threaten, I have two lawyer friends, and they're like,
Mhm.
defamation, one is that is something that's very difficult to prove. And then if
Yes.
you want to sue someone for defamation, that invites discovery into a situation. And, you know, the amount of stones that can be unturned when you invite a lawyer kind of in, or the legal system, I guess, into, you know, the skeletons in your closet, so to say,
Mhm.
like, that can be.
Yeah. It's scary to me
Mhm.
because she clearly has like a lot of power and
Yeah.
there are photos of her and Hayden together. And
Okay.
I don't know, Kat. For me, it's like there is a special place in hell for women like Diana Jenkins. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Ghislaine Maxwell,
ooh,
and yeah. Mhm.
I mean, like, let's be real because the reality is, young women are susceptible to manipulation, they're
Yeah.
susceptible to trafficking.
Mhm.
The idea that another woman would assist in any capacity, um, is so gross to me, and it's such like it's I saw this phrase and I thought you might find this interesting because it's sort of like this idea that the most dangerous person on the planet is a male-centered woman.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think
Mm,
I've seen that quote before, and it's like, "Stop centering men." It's the women that carry water for the
period.
patriarchy that are the most dangerous. Honestly, more
Yeah.
dangerous than men, in my opinion, because I expect that from a man. The same with, like, the whole Summer House scandal that was, like, now the biggest
Mhm.
scandal since Scandoval. Like, I expect the behavior of Wes Wilson in that because he's a man, and I don't expect men to be good or better.
Mm.
Where, like, I think the most heartbreaking thing about that is the friendship betrayal from Amanda to Sierra. Um, People might not know what I'm
And
talking about, but, like,
damn, no,
yeah,
no, but to your point, like that statement of like, I don't expect basically much from men. If there are men watching, and I know there are always men watching these shows because I get so many comments from you guys, and I appreciate it, whether you agree or not, you have to sit with that.
yeah,
Like we're out here struggling. And we could use
mhm,
some allies. And I
yeah,
think that patriarchy really by its very definition, it is hierarchical and it sets up
mhm,
these power dynamics. And so what ends up happening is you have women like the Dianas of the world, the Gaylines of the world, who are looking for that proximity to
yeah,
power because they think it's going to elevate them, increase their wealth, or protect them. When we all
mm.
know at the end of the day, these men ain't coming to save you. You know what I
No,
mean?
and
Like,
I mean,
period.
it's like all of you didn't watch The Handmaid's Tale. Like,
Ooh.
Serena Joy lost a pinky because she wanted to read again. Like, it doesn't work to get your power or your notoriety from men, or, like, create on your own, you know?
Period.
Yeah.
Period. And speaking of which, if you're just joining me, I'm Natalie Bensavanga. I'm here with Kat. She is known on social media as Worm with a Mustache. We talked about that and what that meant, but
Yes.
to play off of this idea around what is going on with women and the scrutiny and sort of this vice
Mhm.
that so much of us find ourselves in, I wanted to take this to a more serious space. I'm sure you've heard about what's been going on with Lindsay Clancy
Mhm.
and this issue around the unrealistic expectations of mothers, in particular, this postpartum experience where you're supposed to be expected to bounce back, be back into your pre-baby jeans in 6 weeks and not complain and not get tired and not be cranky. And, if you watch The Valley or other Bravo shows, we've seen, I think there's such an interesting examination of the postpartum experience of how that's playing online. But, her case with Lindsay Clancy has brought renewed attention, I think, in a different way to the postpartum psychosis concept and just maternal mental health, which we know is a layered conversation that has to do with race as well as socioeconomic standing. But this goes back to what you were just saying around The Handmaid's Tale and the virtue of motherhood and this idea that this is all that you are and this is what you are here to do. Can you speak to that, being a mother yourself, just those unrealistic expectations? And what was your initial reaction when you saw the Lindsay Clancy case and how it sort of captured the country?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I think it's very interesting seeing how her case, like, juxtaposed against, like, Andrea Yates, which was, like, probably what, like 20, 30 years ago
Yeah.
now, where, like, she was this evil woman that, just murdered her family and whatnot. And now Lindsay, I feel like, is getting more grace than what Andrea Yates had experienced, where I feel like the husbands in those situations are very similar in the way that they were supportive, like, of their wives and their postpartum experience. I mean, I think it was, like, in the Andrea Yates case, the doctor literally said, like, you should not have more children because of how, depressed you are, and, like, it would not be good for your physical or mental health or well-being or the well-being of your children. And then I think they were very religious, so they continued to have more children. And then we know the end result. And then I mean, I think the fact that, like, Lindsay Clancy is even, like, the conversation is, there's so many women, like, rallying around her and supporting her and knowing that, like, she tried. She did everything she could to try to get help. She said, "I don't feel right. Like, I'm taking all these medications and, like, no one is hearing me. No one's helping me." She's even reaching out to her mom to say, like, "Mom, I need you to be with me because I am not okay." And tragedy still struck, even though she tried to. Oh, here comes my cat.
We love a
Even though
guest
she tried,
star.
yes, even though she tried to, do something. It's not like she even sat there and suffered in silence and internalized it. She was expressing um that she was not okay.
Yeah. And, I think what breaks my heart about it too is it just pulls into focus so many issues that we have. Not only does it just talk about the issues of motherhood and those unrealistic expectations, and even when you do all the right things, sometimes you still end up in a tragic, horrific situation that now she has to live with. I mean, this isn't her pain is just in some ways beginning because she might have been out of her mind during the act of harming and killing her children, but now she is aware of what happened and is going to have to suffer the consequences for the rest of her life. And the reality is we do not have paid leave in this country. We do not have universal health care in this country. We do not have supportive structures in place for quality childcare. And we've destroyed community, right? We've destroyed spaces outside of the capitalistic model of go here and spend money for people to gather. And there's this idea that, like, you're supposed to be able to do all of these things and not feel any of the repercussions of that. From your own experience, Kat, having been a mom and being a mother yourself, were you surprised at the expectations that were put onto you by society during and after giving birth? And now as a mom, do you feel different in this body as a human being?
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like I didn't recognize it, obviously, until you become a mom. I feel like I talked to this with all of my friends, like, as they become moms. Like, you don't realize how much support you need to give to a new mom until you become one yourself. And, like, I've had multiple friends, even, like, probably one of my least self-aware friends, like, reach out to me after she had her first child and said, "Oh my gosh, I should have been there more for you, but you just don't know what you don't know." And it's like, I feel like as more women become moms, they just, like, continue to pay it forward. Like, I am usually the first person to, like, set up a meal train for a new
Yeah.
mom or a friend that had a baby, because, like, one of my friends who was the first to have kids in our friend group, she set it up for me, and I was like, "Oh, I knew how great it was to get a bunch of DoorDash gift cards and just be able to have, like, DoorDash coffee or a meal after a really rough night where we didn't sleep much." And, like, no, we don't even wanna put on shoes to go drive through a drive-through to get coffee because 'cause we're
Yeah.
exhausted. So it's like, just I think, like, I wish we lived in a society where, like, it was the matriarchy, because I feel like women are like, so willing to, like, help and support each other, but, like, if you don't have that village of women around you, you can just be completely lost and forgotten about.
I couldn't agree more. And that's why I think independent journalism, like Facts Over Fear, like the work
Mhm.
that you do on Instagram is so important. And thank you for all the hearts that I'm getting on this show, because all of that tells Substack that, like, hey, this is a good show.
Yeah.
And then Substack pushes it out to more people, because the reality is, we are in a time where mainstream media and corporate-owned media is hiding the things that will support and uplift working people. And what you just spoke of, I've never had biological children, but
Mhm.
my sister and my sister-in-law obviously have. And as new moms, I did the same things that you're talking about,
Mhm.
tried to provide as many meals as I could.
Yep.
Just went over and just, like, rubbed my sister's feet, like, after
Mhm.
she had a rough night. Like, just those little things, showing up for my brother and sister-in-law when they just
Mhm.
needed somebody to sit and watch the baby so they could take a nap. Like,
Yeah.
we need community, we need village. And I keep saying, like, men would love a matriarchy.
They would.
They
Well, I mean,
would.
I think, like, Jennifer Welch talks about this all the time on I've Had It. She's like, these men are like, the MAGA men are the most submissive
Listen.
people on the planet. They just
Mm,
want to be told what to do. And I feel
yes.
like, if you think about just, like, male careers or, like, things that men do, like, they like structure. They like,
Mm,
if they want to be a police officer or a fireman or go into the military, someone is coming down with orders. And then if you think about, like, the structure of a home, it's like usually the mom or the woman is the one providing direction for the home and, like, giving, task delegation, or, like, here, go do this laundry. Here, can you go make this bed or whatever. And it's like men, like, I feel like, need that structure. And it's like, I don't know where the narrative got lost that, like, men were in control.
Oh, I think I know where that narrative came from, right? I
Yes.
think we've been living in that narrative
No,
for
I
the
know, I
past
know.
decade, right?
Yes, yes.
No, I'm teasing you, but I think you raise very good points. And of course, we're not trying to make sweeping generalizations
Yes,
around gender, but it just
yes,
seems to be, in general, in particular around heteronormative marriage,
yes.
that there is a lot of delegation. And that's why we
Mhm.
talk a lot about emotional labor and how women seem to do the bulk of the managerial
Yes,
tasks in the home front. And then we're expected to do all of these other things. And so there is this sort of
yes.
imbalance that we're experiencing, right? And that
Mhm.
imbalance is so on display right now, Kat,
Yep.
right?
Mhm.
Everything that we see, every time we turn on the news, every time we look online, we are seeing that imbalance play out, because we have a lunatic running the nation
Yes.
into the ground under this guise of manliness, right? And this conversation around,
Meanwhile, he wears makeup and
ooh,
wigs and
yes. And I think a diaper too, but
yeah,
that's a whole
yes.
other thing. But yes, he is a glamour boy. And
Mhm.
so is Pete Hegseth. He wanted a makeup room installed into the
Yeah.
White House, which we love that for him. And it's just one of these things where I think when you repress certain aspects of the psyche, the
Yep.
feminine, which we all
Mhm.
have both the masculine and feminine within us, when you just, like, tamp one down so hard, it comes popping up. I
Yep.
mean, Andrew Tate's arrest outfit was like a perfect example, like the little Chico's going out top, and the skinny
It was
pants.
literally Michael Scott wearing, the women's cut shirt on The Office.
I mean, oh, The Office. I love that show. Yeah, so there's a lot of conversation around what men are supposed to be and how they are supposed to behave, but what it ends up coming down to is just don't act like women. And so there's not a lot of understanding of what does it mean to be a man. And so I think that plays into this larger narrative around why everything is sort of in free fall, because there really aren't a lot of balances happening right now, energetically or otherwise. And we're really seeing that play out in our public health system. And I wanted to touch on this, Kat, because I thought this was very important around the topic of motherhood as it pertains to the MAHA movement, which, I have very mixed emotions, which might sound shocking to you around MAHA, because I'm very critical, obviously, of it, but I get maybe the kernels of it, because I think at the end of the day, it was just moms who were trying to keep their babies safe. And I respect that. Where I think it goes off the rails is because it's not being based in evidence-backed medicine or facts. So when you're exploring these topics, in particular in public health, because I see you do a lot of this on your social platform, which I love, Warm with a Mustache. If you're not following her, please do. Can you speak a little bit to why you think this is such a complex dynamic with the MAHA movement as it pertains to motherhood?
Yeah, I mean, so I just moved to Minneapolis from Texas, and I actually had a friend group where, with, people that were, some people that were apolitical, some people that leaned more conservative, some people that were liberal like me, and, a couple of the moms in there, don't vaccinate their children. And,
oh, God, that literally breaks my heart.
I know. It was, one of those things where it's, I feel like now that I'm out of it, I'm like, oh, that was really weird. But in the moment, you get to know these people and who they are as moms. And at the end of the day, they're just moms that think they're doing the best thing for their child, just like me. And sorry, I think my phone is literally about to die. So I'm going to try to plug in.
We're walking and talking, everyone.
This might be a little chaotic. I just don't want to die while we are on the phone or on live. But no, at the end of the day, it's just moms that think they are doing what is the best thing for their child, whether it is informed or, whether they're misinformed or, sorry, that was chaotic. But yeah, no, I mean, at the end of the day, moms are, we love our children deeply. We care for them deeply. And they are just not making decisions that are rooted in fact. And it's that's why it's so important to find healthcare providers that you trust and will let you ask questions. It's okay to ask questions about the medical system. The medical system and the pharmaceutical companies, there are things in that sphere that are deeply flawed, right? But this is also back to the MAHA movement. This is why we need regulations. This is why we need checks and balances. When you deregulate things, that makes us more unsafe. If you look at all of the food recalls, this is all connected. So, if you, and also, side tangent, if you're talking about how corrupt, say, Big Pharma is, and all of these doctors are getting, commission from the pharmaceutical companies for pushing vaccines. Many private practices won't even offer vaccines because of how unprofitable it is for their practice. So they're not making millions of dollars. No. Meanwhile, you have wellness influencers pushing $150 parasite cleanses that they get 30% commission on. What's more corrupt? In one industry, big wellness is completely unregulated, not FDA approved, not regulated. You could put nonsense into these supplements and no one would know. So,
and I couldn't agree more.
It's just the hypocrisy of it is just kind of interesting.
And I couldn't agree more. And I really think it also plays into the vulnerability, which that's what pisses me off.
Yeah.
If there is one thing I don't like, Kat, it's, two things. It's a bully and it's people that prey on the most vulnerable.
Yes.
And mothers trying to protect their children are in a vulnerable space, right?
Yes.
And so the idea, and you hit the nail on the head, this is such a complex topic, right? Because and I talk about this all the time with Dr. Natalie Gentili, who comes on from a medical perspective as an independent provider. And she speaks to this because it's like, she'll have people come in her office and they've just heard the craziest shit on social media about, you know, like you said, cleanses or supplements or things that, you know, do absolutely nothing. She says you'll just have like really expensive urine, basically, you know, and it's just, it's one of those things where it breaks your heart, but you also see how we got here. And the food recalls, I'm glad you brought that into focus because, girl, I don't know about you, but like, I don't even know what's safe to eat at this point.
I'm just like winging it at this point. I'm like, you know, if I lose 20 pounds from peeing out my butthole, then I guess, you know, one stomach bug away from my goal weight, I guess.
It's just so bad because, you know, I remind myself we haven't always lived like this.
No.
Like there was a time where I didn't think about the FDA. I didn't think about the CDC. I wasn't wondering if there was going to be shards of glass in a popsicle that I'm about to give a child, right? So there's just this like moment in time that I think what I'm worried about is that we are normalizing what is not normal. And that is really where I want to end today's show because there's something that's happening, you guys, that is absolutely not normal. And yet we continue to just like blink and go on with our day. Has anyone heard of Natalie Harp? She is Trump's most devoted loyalist at this moment. I mean, the woman is willing to do things that are unconscionable to me to be near this man. What have you heard about her?
So I first heard her name as
we don't claim her as the Natalies.
No, no, I'm so sorry that you share a name with her. I first heard her coined as the human printer. So she is with Trump, from what I hear, like 24/7.
Yeah.
And when he is, you know, panic tweeting at 2, 3, 4 in the morning. And we've noticed that his grammar has gotten better. His spelling has gotten better. We're not seeing kafif and those types of things anymore. Throwback with the kafif.
That was so quaint what you just did.
But so she, when he's going on, you know, dementia rant at 3 in the morning, she is kind of like his transcriber. She also prints out his tweets or like, you know, bad articles for him because he doesn't like to read on a phone. So she has to like physically print things out for him because, you know, he's a geriatric president. You know, likes to keep it old school and read on paper.
At 3 a.m.
At 3 a.m. when he really should be sleeping.
So don't worry, he sleeps plenty during the day during those meetings. It's fine. It's fine.
Because he's, you know, dictating his tweets at 3 in the morning that he's falling asleep in the middle of, you know, press interviews. So I've heard that. I heard she has like thrown herself in the back of a trunk of a car to be close to him. I heard she threw an absolute fit whenever she was on the decoy plane coming out of Turkey. And I think so. Jennifer Welch, she's like my Lord and Savior. I'm obsessed with her. But like I listen to, I've had it like in her news show every single day. But she was saying that like, this is kind of like a national security risk, is it not? Like if she knows
that part
so much about the president and is with him 24/7, and she can just throw a temper tantrum and get put on the actual plane out of somewhere. What does she know that they're so scared that she's going to spill?
She won't get security clearances. Why? Like, I just want, like, I was talking to somebody today and I was just like, in any other administration, this would be dominating the headlines. Who is this woman? Why is she with the president?
Can you imagine Fox News if Obama had a,
young blonde following him around? No, I can't.
It would be worse than the tan suit. I mean, can you believe?
The tan suit wouldn't even register anymore. And what if he was wearing the tan suit in a photo with her, you know? And Kim Lyons joined us and she says, did you see the photos of her sprinting after his golf cart? Like the level of humiliation that this woman is willing to put herself through, it really raises a lot of red flags for me.
So her brother,
who is she?
I think someone interviewed her brother and they grew up like homeschooled and like her, like, I guess the curriculum that their mom taught was like, similar to the homeschool
Great.
that I think the Duggars like
Oh, good. Okay.
experience. So like, it taught like American exceptionalism, and that like, slavery was just normal for like the times, and, obviously not learning real history. And like, he was like, she clearly just never broke out of or like deconstructed from that learning. And like, the Trump administration is representative of everything that they learned as children.
I feel like we could do like another hour
I
just
know.
on her.
I
And
know.
I just want to note that another funny thing about this was that Melania gave like some press conference. I think it was today. And she was basically like, "Did you miss me?" And it's like, where are you, first of all? And did you know there is a blonde woman chasing your husband around? And she's probably like, "Honey, you can have him." Like, I don't want to.
She's like, I don't want him.
Deal
She's
with
like,
him.
I don't want to be near his stinky diaper.
No, like, let's be real. Let's be real. Oh my goodness. No. So I think at the end of the day, what I find really interesting about all of these topics is this concept around womanness and the expectations of what it means to be a woman, and how that system can literally lead you to addiction. It can drive you to harming yourself or others, or it can lead you to a space of delusion. And where I really want us to think is, what other systems could we exist in as a community, as a people, so that we don't have this sort of pressure cooker on the feminine in the way that we do at this moment. Kat, thank you so much for being here.
Yes.
This was so much fun. I'd love to have you back. Thank you to
love
everybody
to
that
again.
was watching, and all the hearts and the love that we were getting. That was so fun. If people want to follow you and learn more about your work, where can they go?
Yeah, my main platform is Instagram. I'm on TikTok a little bit, but you know how that goes with the new ownership over there. So my main platform is Instagram, at worm_with_mustache.
Which, come on.
Yeah.
I love the Tom Sandoval reference from Bravo.
Yes.
Everybody, I appreciate you so much. If you want to support Facts Over Fear, please subscribe. It means a lot to me to have everybody's support as we continue to break down the news cycle from hell. I plan on doing this as much as I can every week, once a week, and have wonderful people like Kat on to help me break it down. And I hope you'll come back. This was really fun.
I would love to. Yes.
Wonderful. And as always, everyone, until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Bye, everybody.